I don't think more than 16 connected, though. And he's in a ring full of people. Nobody's doing any goddamn thing.
Well, apparently, from what I heard, the first person in there who tried to do something and there was nothing he could do was only 17 years old.
Yeah, I know. Here, yes, yeah. Remind me when I talk about legal liability later on here in the episode. The first person to get to the scene of that, not to get to the scene, but to react to the scene of the attempted murder is a minor.
There's no honor amongst thieves, boys. Hey, how y'all doing today? My name is Millennial Smart, and I'm bringing you the slop, the whole slop, and nothing but the slop. So, check it out. What's on today's tap, right? So we have AJ Mana going out of his way to just say it wasn't him. It had nothing to do with him. It had everything to do with Knokx Pro. Him, them, Reno, and Anoa'i. They all put me into this fucking position to be a dumbass. It's not my fault. Don't blame me. Blame all of them. And then you have, obviously Douglas Malo refuting AJ because, obviously AJ's a dumbass. Then we have Jim Cornette firing off some shots at Knokx Pro himself. Obviously, he had to talk about this. You can't have a fucking consistent talking point without getting Jim Cornette to say something about it, right? We have Douglas Malo also finally going to detectives and talking to them about the situation. And apparently, Knokx Pro students are leaving at a rapid rate, and Rikishi is terrified. So, if you guys don't mind, let's jump directly into today's first topic, and let's discuss Mr. AJ Mana himself, who can't keep his fucking mouth shut. Shall we? We shall.
This storyline, and then the shit gets out of hand, and you not
watch the video. Who told Roger to throw the punch? Watch the fucking video. Here. I'll give you a hint. You ready? And I quote: "Get in there and fuck that motherfucker up."
You run in and fuck that motherfucker up in the mat. You ready for that?
Yeah.
Did that come out of my mouth? No, came out of the promoter's mouth. Fuck you. What, I'm supposed to kayfabe this shit to protect them? Fuck you. Y'all niggas watching me burn. Y'all told me to shut up and not say nothing just so I can fucking get buried. Fuck y'all. No, I ain't shutting up about nothing. I'm telling the whole fucking truth. Like it or not. And if you don't like it, pull up, bitch. I ain't got nothing to lose. Pull up. Motherfucker.
The one point that I really want to overemphasize is that he knew beforehand that Raja was not a worker. He was not a worker. He knew that beforehand. But if you just look at the video, it looks like, oh, I didn't know. I'm sorry, I didn't know. But from somebody that was there, that's not the truth.
Hello? What is alcohol doing in the fucking locker room? Why are we getting intoxicated before the fucking show? Every fucking show for 6 years. And tell me if I'm lying, motherfucker, because I did it with you. Yeah, that part. You want to bury me? You're all coming down with me.
He's retarded. Like, I'm actually convinced AJ is fucking retarded. You're retarded. Why would you say any of this? First off, dude, lawyer the fuck up and shut the fuck up. I think that should be your first thing. Fuck these interviews for a while. Lawyer the fuck up and then shut the fuck up. Holy shit. So, first and foremost, this dude says, what he said, he says something along the lines of, well, I mean, it was not me, it was Reno. He was the one who told them to go out there and fuck him up. It had nothing to do with me. What are you talking about? Okay, so how about this then? How about both of you be implicated in the crime? Can we do that? Rather than just you, we can throw Reno in there too. I have no problems with that whatsoever. Just because Reno did it doesn't mean you didn't do it. There was a camera on you saying, get your receipt, and if you don't want to, I'll go in there and do it myself. Tag the motherfucker. Your rhetoric is no different than Reno's. Fine, you win, boss. You both go to fucking jail, or you both, at the very least, go in front of a judge, and we get this shit situated. What are you talking about? And then he further goes on to state, he said, oh, you guys were drinking. Oh my God, tell me why you guys were drinking during an event. And then he goes on to say, tell me if I'm lying, because I was there drinking with you guys. What the fuck? What are you, bro? Do you think this is a W? Do you think you're winning? Why would you say that? Guys, you were drinking at that fucking promotion. And you know how I know this? You know how I know you were doing something presumably illegal? Because I was doing it with you as well. I was doing the illegal activity with you as well before I told Raja to get his receipt. You're a moron. Dude, you're a moron. Oh, and I love this. His little butt buddy, his little fucking sidekick standing right there talking about, oh, Stu knew beforehand, like all this that was going down, every last bit of things that was going down, Stu knew. Stu knew. Do I have any proof that Stu knew? No, I have no proof. Have absolutely no fucking proof. I absolutely believe that Stu would go out of his way to just rock a fucking random fan in the goddamn head with a beer can, and then afterwards ask them whether or not they want to sell it. Yeah, absolutely. I know all the details about what goes on in little Stu's brain. Yep, slap the thigh on that one right there too. Like, what the fuck are you? Where's your proof, bro? Where's your proof? You're the only one making this fucking claim. You're the only one making this claim next to your fucking boyfriend over there who's trying to get out of trouble. What are you people talking about? But that's fine. I don't expect them to go out of their way to explain away their crimes. I have witnesses, people who upload videos that completely contradict everything that you say, buddy. So if you don't mind, take it away, Mr. Malo.
The premeditation part comes on the side of AJ Mana. You brought somebody that was volatile that you knew had issues.
So real quick, that's the friend of Raja who brought him to the event.
That's the small calf, small ass, chicken legs bitch with the cowboy hat.
So this fight, whatever you want to call it, Raja Jackson.
Attempted murder.
Right, this attempted murder, he landed like 20 something punches on him.
23
punches on him. You pull him off and then he tried to go at you. So that was he trying to continue beating him even further?
I think the culmination between his dad picking on him and all his daddy issues came out and all the shit that AJ gassed up into his head, because let me put it this way. I don't like Raja. I think Raja's a shit person for what he did. But I think AJ's a bigger shit person for gassing him up to be in that fucking ring, to leading him to ruin his own fucking life, to hurt somebody that AJ also has a fucking problem with. You can't fucking tell me that's not, I don't believe in coincidence.
He was basically trying to put the blood on someone else's hands.
Exactly, because he's not going to do it himself. Mm-hmm. You know, the few little backyard fights he fucking got in where he got beat the up, and then you got somebody that's a real fighter, trained by somebody that's one of the greatest of all time, and then you had him do your dirty work.
Continuing on now, Jim Cornette has some of his shots to actually throw out there, because of course, right, it's Jim Cornette at the end of the day. He did have a back and forth with a Mark somewhere on his Twitter page just a couple of days ago, so this was really highly anticipated. We all knew what Cornette was going to say, especially with his crusade against mud show wrestlers. Now, I will say, as always, watch the source material. The link is down in the description box below, although I'm not too worried about that because again, this was highly anticipated. And I will like to say also, some of the things that he was saying in the beginning about the 17-year-old in the ring, in my opinion, I don't see anything wrong with that necessarily, because I equivocate wrestling nowadays to just a drama performance, right? You know, a sequence here and a sequence there. You know, you have drama classes in your middle schools and high schools. There's nothing wrong with that, because that's really the equivalent to what wrestling is if you know how to work, right? The problem comes into play when you actually have morons like Raj Jackson shooting on everybody, right? Because now you put them in a liability situation. There's a 17-year-old, he's a minor, that's a kid. Now he's gonna probably get popped for real, and you really start to get around, you know, child abuse allegations and stuff like that, right? Or maybe not child abuse, because I don't know if that's considered strictly domestic, or like maybe there's some other, you know, I don't know, legal term for it that it's just now slipping my goddamn mind. But you get what I'm trying to say, right? It's a minor. You want to be careful with those kind of situations. But nevertheless, though, there were some excerpts that I did take out of Jim Cornette's podcast that I found on Ringside News. They transcribed this really, really weird with the asterisks, because I think there were more fuller words and I can't tell what they are because there's 4 asterisks but obviously that's not the word that Jim Cornette was saying. So I'm just going to try to be as clean as possible and just ignore the asterisk and just read the transcript as if I'm just, censoring myself, if you will, right? So we're going to get directly to that, and he kicked it off by saying this. There is no excuse for this on any level, that any kind of operation should be run like this. And the fact that now it is so easy for everybody to just call themselves, I'm a wrestler, I'm a professional wrestler, I'm a worker, and I'm working all the time, baby. In your heads, you goddamn amateurs. I'm so sick and fed up with this. None of y'all out there, I don't care how smart you think you are, you ain't as smart as you think you are when it comes to the wrestling business. He furthers by saying, and whether it's the guys that want to fantasize that they're wrestlers on the weekends and then goddamn drink beer and shave half their heads on their weekdays to look like some kind of goddamn gimmick and parade around saying, I'm a big time wrestler, or the jack-off local yokels that make Jack Pfeffer look like P.T. Barnum running these mud shows, or the goddamn marks that want to dissect whose fault it is. Well, he said he's going to get a receipt. You morons, on both sides of it. You're all morons. You have a simpleton's understanding of this industry that has almost been lost today because everybody thinks they're smart. So this wrestling school ought to be shut down. And then he finally says this got so much publicity. Mainstream publicity. Yeah, mainstream publicity where they just say a pro wrestler, a pro wrestling event, and you look at that and people in the mainstream don't know the difference whether it's WWE, AEW, it's just pro wrestling. Look at these low rent shows. That's what gives the wrestling business a bad name. And he's absolutely right. Hell, I'm even certain that what he was saying, that probably is aimed at people like me also. When he said we're smart to the business and stuff like that, I try my best not to put my little smart cap on all the time. No, I'm not a Jim Cornette. No, I'm not people who are in the business backstage, and nor am I going to go out of my way to pretend, because I'm pretty sure there are intricacies where you can give your opinion and not even understand that it can't be done to that degree, whether it's the television people, whether it has something to do with the law or ethics or any of that kind of stuff, right? Or just simply just from a story standpoint where the promoters or the bookers, they have their goal in mind as far as what they want to do, and it's going to take intricate steps in order to get there, and just throwing out some fantasy booking, it's not going to be what's going to be able to get that person to that conclusion. I get that, right? I completely understand that. I just give my opinion personally, right? Even dissecting the situation, I think for everybody, it's appropriate, just my opinion, to give your opinion on whatever a situation happens to be. When people say receipt, I don't think they're necessarily focusing on the wrestling terminology such as receipt, which I think Jim has a problem with. I think the more focus is the fact that we know what a receipt means as far as colloquially, right? And we have this guy who is instrumental in a crime being taking place, and that's what we're focused on. I can see Jim's point. I agree to a certain degree, even if it's pretty much aimed at people like me. I completely understand. It's just that I kind of feel like the way he's interpreting it and lashing out at everybody, and kind of using that as a way to conflate it with what's going on with pro wrestling or the Knokx Pro wrestling event, to essentially say it's bad on both sides, whether it's the Knokx Pro guys who are marks in the end of the day that led up to this situation, or people like me who give opinions and stuff like that. Everybody is wrong in this entire situation. I think it's a bit of a fault. And I know people are going to probably be like, oh, Devontae, well, he's talking about people like you, so I mean, of course you're going to have this opinion, but not really, because like I said, I can see where he's coming from. I just feel like legitimately the equivalencies of trying to compare, people who are using wrestling terminologies who aren't in the business with a bunch of retards who clearly don't know what the hell they're doing and just contributed to an actual crime. I just feel like even though he's talking to people like me, the false equivalency is absolutely still there. You can have both of those opinions at the same time without having to conflate an actual crime with people outside of the business. You know what I mean? But again, that's just my stance on the situation. Nevertheless, I do agree with him as far as the people in the Knox County or whatever the fuck their names are, Knokx Pro Wrestling, that they should be shut down. I mean, I think that goes without saying, right? And that's not, I'm not the only person who thinks that, right? Because we're going to segue into something else that I feel like is very important, and I think this is what's going to get the ball rolling when it's all said and done to inevitably lead to Raj Jackson's capture, right? Because he's been on the run, in my opinion. People are like, Devontae, don't say the run. He's been on the fucking run. He's not been arrested yet, god damn it, for damn near a week now, and hopefully this is building the case to finally get the cuffs put on this motherfucker. So check this out. This is from Douglas Malo, and I quote, "Yeah, I just talked to the detective today. He wanted to speak with me and a few others to get our side of it. I can't really go into detail about what they're looking for. I even told him about the clips of me punching him. If you watch the video from behind, you can see me throwing punches. I headbutted him and I bit him. I told the detective they're going to see the gash near my eye. I said, after he punched me, this is what I did. He told me he didn't see that, and I said, well, I'm letting you know anyway, because at the end of the day, even if I get in trouble, we need to figure out what's right and what's fair." He furthers on by stating this. He said, right now I know they're looking into a lot of things. They're planning to talk to everyone who's been on camera. Every single person on camera who was talking and saying, we could do this or we could do that, they want to talk to them. And quite frankly, here's my thing with this, right? I know most people who are looking at this are going to probably find this unfair if they feel, because I know the way that reads is that the detectives are antagonizing someone like a Douglas Malo, who was the guy who actually saved Stu. And I know most people are going to probably be like, okay, can we put the focus back on the guy who actually did the fucking crime? And look, here's my thing. Bear with it, all right? There is going to be, because remember, I hate saying this because, like, man, I'm speaking in generalities, but you see it so much that you can't help but notice it. You know, they are in California. You know how the DA, typically works within California. You know what I mean? So it is what it is as far as what we think the outcome is going to be in the end of the day. You got someone like Douglas who actually was the one saving the person, but because he laid his hands on someone like a Raj first, like a Roger first, you never know what that could mean, right? Now, most people will probably see that as self-defense. People will probably see that as, something akin to citizen's arrest as far as trying to stop him. Now, obviously, that's not citizen's arrest, but I said something akin to it, right? In the sense that they're trying to pull him off. They're doing the job of the police, right? And you never know. You fuck with California, they might call that some shit like vigilante justice. They're fucking insane in that state. You know what I mean? So to think that something like, for an example, Douglas trying to save his friend, Douglas trying to prevent Raja from doing more damage, and in the process he ended up hitting him, it could backfire on him. It sounds fucking insane. It's stupid. It's California. You know what I mean? That's a pejorative in itself. California as a state is a pejorative. So I don't know, just be on the lookout as far as how that is concerned, because I can see where people are coming from. I can see where you're going with that. All I can say is just wait and see. You know what I mean? But at least we know, if for anything else, that the investigation is currently ongoing. It has not stopped. I'm seeing rumors from people saying things like, oh, they dropped the case, so they're not going to do anything to Raja. They're just taking it as just a wrestling show. It's no different than what happened with New Jack back in the days. No one's going to take this seriously. No, it's currently ongoing. And I think an arrest is inevitable. Whether or not he actually gets legitimate consequences for this as far as jail time, that's the question. But I think an arrest is it's inevitable. But like I said, we'll keep up with it. You can never trust California when it comes to these kinds of things. But finally, what I want to discuss, if you don't mind, is a situation involving Rikishi Fatu, one of the co-owners of the Knokx Pro. Fuck, I keep getting that shit wrong. The Knokx Pro Wrestling School. So here, check this out also. And I quote from Douglas, "From what I've heard, Rikishi is going to overhaul everything. I just wanted to put that out there. They've lost a good number of students, and that breaks my heart because I absolutely adore Rikishi. That's really the status right now. The students are dropping like flies, and they're planning a complete overhaul. I mean, to be quite frank, they were going to probably drop the students anyways because they have to be preparing for a lawsuit right now. There's just no doubt about it. Like, Stu may or Stu may not sue. You never know. But at this point, you might want to start preparing for your lawyers. You might want to start getting your shit ready because this is going to be a bumpy ride. And, to a certain degree, I know most people will probably say, fuck Rikishi. Oh, he's the one to put the people into position for them to be so incompetent for this thing to actually happen. I know people are calling this karma for the situation that happened with him and, Zilla a couple of weeks ago. I understand that. But this is just my perspective. This is just how I look at things. As I look at with everybody else, I like to put the blame on where the blame is deserved. You know what I mean? To whatever extent you play, that's where the blame goes to. And I think if there's a 100% piece of the pie and Raja ends up getting, say, 90% of it because he actually perpetuated the crime, you want to look at, for an example, AJ Malo, maybe he's 5% for gassing him up, alongside with, for an example, Reno for also gassing him up, the referee for not gassing him, but not taking the proper precautions to, do what. But to be fair, I can't even blame the referee also. He could have done something. I mean, that pen count was fucking foul. He should be blacklisted for that shit. But as far as stopping, I'm seeing people saying, oh, the referee should have stopped it. Look at the referee and look at Raja. What the fuck is he gonna do? But you get what I'm saying? That's where it comes back to Rikishi because of the people that he hired. You know what I mean? That's where Rikishi plays a part. I'd probably give like 1% of blame to him just simply for the fact that he didn't do anything. He is about as disconnected from this issue directly of impacting what happened as anyone could possibly be. But he gets 1% simply because he's the owner and he made the decisions to put these people into place. And you know what? That 1%, it's going to be what cost him when he eventually gets that lawsuit. If I were him, I'd probably go out of my way to maybe distance myself from his family member, Reno. Not distance from a personal standpoint, but distance from a business relationship standpoint, right? Because if you have your guy going around and he's making decisions like this and it falls back on your name, yeah, you kind of can't be partners with him anymore in the future. You know what I mean? I think the school was open for about 16 or 17 years. All that down the fucking drain, most likely because of inept, incompetent decisions like this. Your partnership with WWE ID is fucking over with right now, bro. That money could be the reason how Rikishi went out of town to go do what he wanted to do. And now he comes back and he sees all this. He hasn't made us, and I know people are saying, oh, Rikishi, he ain't talking about this. Later would have been something else. He would have been all over it right about now. But I mean, it is something that's personally affecting him. You know what I mean? It is his business. It is his school. It is his students. Why would he go out of his way to explain? What can he even explain? He wasn't even there. He can only explain what he's seen on the video and what was told to him by his workers and the people around him, right? I'm pretty sure right about now, he's getting ready to, as it's been stated, overhaul the entire fucking promotion and prepare for what inevitably might be a costly, very long, very exhausting, very draining couple of years when he goes to court. Because that seems like the inevitability when discussing this entire situation. But like I said, I give him some of the blame, but he gets like the smallest portion of the blame you could possibly give somebody just simply because he's the owner. It's like no different than a parent, right? If you're a mom, you're a dad, you're at home, you're a Rampage Jackson, for an example, who gets some of the blame also. Like, yeah, you may have not done anything directly, but it was your decisions indirectly that ended up, obviously creating this product that ended up being the conclusion of what happened, the results, if you will, right? The receipts, if you will. But let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below in regards to how you feel about the video. So far, I gotta say, I'm loving the series. Thank you guys for 10,000 subscribers. Don't think I didn't see that. That's fucking awesome. Very, 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 very much appreciative, right? Can't say that this series right here didn't help contribute to that, right? It went from 9,000 to 10,000 like a fucking week. So that's pretty cool. But the ball does not stop rolling and the train does not start trucking, rolling, whatever. I'm stupid right now. We're going to continue the series. We have more to talk about as the weeks and days start going on. The countdown till lockdown of Raj Jackson continues. So until next time, boys and girls, my name is Millennial Smart, and I'll be catching you later. a deuces, and a P. Ice.